Hi. Now, before I get into the main subject matter of this video, I just want to follow up a little bit from the last one, which is controversial knighthood for Tony Blair. I stand by what I said. I appreciate others have a different opinion, and I do appreciate why it's controversial. I'm not lying to that, but I still believe that when it comes to Tony Blair, people can be very single-minded. They don't look at the whole picture. Um, I think that former prime ministers, given the weight of their job, I agree with the speaker. I think it makes sense for former prime ministers to get some sort of title, given the weight of responsibility of their job. Now, I happen to think that Tony Blair was a pretty good prime minister for the most part. I think he was a great statesman, and I think that and Keir Starmer's taken that position too. Um, something like this is always going to be controversial because Tony Blair was and remains a controversial figure. So, a lot of people will see, especially perhaps Iraq War veterans and others will see this as a slap in the face. They're entitled to their opinion, but apparently the petition is now 500,000 plus. So clearly there's strong feelings about this. But I just think that people need to look at the whole picture. They need to look at his many achievements. They need to look at the fact this was a free-term prime minister, by the way, who was elected after the Iraq War as well. So, there was democratic mandate. So saying that he doesn't deserve that is kind of disregarding the democratic mandate that Tony Blair had as prime minister. Um, and I just think that people are being short-sighted on this. But more broadly speaking, I think that the honour system should definitely reflect ordinary people a lot more. In that sense, it needs reform. I think there's far too many celebrities and famous people, quite frankly, who already get honoured within the respective industries. That's the thing actually with politicians. That's why it makes sense for high level politicians to get it because there's no political equivalent of the Oscars or the Grammys or anything like that. So I think it makes sense for politicians to get honors in that sense. But top musicians, actors, and so on, they may be great at what they do, but really, I'd like to see far more honors given to ordinary people. People who dedicate their lives to others, people who are selfless, people who work in the community. I'd like to see a lot more of that. Goodness knows there's plenty of it out there. The Daily Mirror, to its credit, organises an event every year, the Pride of Britain Awards. Those are the sort of people who should be recognised. There's too many celebrities. And the sort of people I'm talking about are the opposite of the person I'm going to talk about now, which is Katie Price, the glamour model. So basically, September last year, she was charged with drink driving while disqualified or driving under the influence. I believe it was alcohol, but the attitude that she's come out with is just, to me, typical of an entitled celebrity. She appeared on Good Morning Britain with her son Harvey. Katie Price is someone who's often in the tabloid headlines, more often than not, not for good reasons. She's almost one of these people who's famous for being famous. Um, but I really have a problem with her attitude. So basically, she claims that traumatic events led up to this situation where she was in a crash. And this is from Yahoo News. The 43-year-old reality star and mother of five who escaped a jail sentence shortly before Christmas after pleading guilty to the driving offences admitted she is ashamed of what happened, but asked people not to judge her. Price told Good Morning Britain the events leading up to it were very traumatic and it's been a very traumatic afterwards. She added, "There's reasons why I got in that car, my mental state. When I'm ready to talk about it, I'll talk about it." Well, to me, that in itself, when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll talk about it, is selfish. Why should that be her choice? I'll come back to what I mean about that. I feel ashamed about it, but it was all traumatic build-up and all the reasons I'm still dealing with it now. I think people shouldn't judge people. There's always reasons. I'm seeing a therapist. Price revealed she is now committed to seeing a therapist every week forever. She said, "I'm in a very good headspace now." Her whole attitude is me, me, me. Um, And then the rest of the report's just basically about her personal life. But the point is, this woman has a record. You know, this wasn't a one-time offense. Apparently, she's a repeat offender. Um, and the fact that she's saying, "I'll talk about it when I'm ready to talk about it." Now, on Good Morning Britain, the presenters would just give her a free pass, basically. So, oh, we understand, we understand. Susanna Reid and I forget who the guy is now that's replaced Piers Morgan. But you know, to me, they would be saying, "We understand that, but don't you understand the concern or anger of people who are saying, wait a second, you're a celebrity. Why do you get away with this?" Or, you know, what about people who've lost loved ones to drink drivers? If I was a journalist, I'd be asking her that because it's all very well saying she regrets it, but to me, that's not sincere regret. Because if it was sincere regret, she wouldn't be following up with making excuses and trying to make it all about herself, which is what she's doing. Um, you know, I mean, her whole attitude is, I feel ashamed about it, but. And I think people shouldn't judge people. So she's basically saying, well, I'm embarrassed it happened. And, you know, woe is me. My life is hard. That's why I done this. Well, I'm sorry, Katie Price, but a lot of people have personal problems. Okay? People who can match your personal problems. I'm not downplaying those, but it is not an excuse to put other people's lives at risk. And when you do that, people will judge. Okay? This thing about, oh, don't judge people. Judgment's part of human nature. But you know, people are going to judge even more if you take that attitude. If you take this idea that, not that I expect you to be watching this video, but this should be just a general principle for entitled celebrities. You know, woe is me. Um, just stop feeling sorry for yourself. You know, you're lucky you escaped a prison sentence. In my opinion, you should have went to prison because drink driving directly puts lives at risk. It's a serious offence. In fact, I think it should be taken a lot more seriously. I'm sick and tired of reckless drivers, celebrities and non-celebrities, you know, getting behind the wheel, putting lives at risk, and they get a tap on the wrist. They might get a driving ban for a couple of years. In most cases, they escape a prison sentence. Why? What sort of deterrent is that? They'll just go back and do exactly the same thing. I hope one thing, I hope if she does this again, she does go to prison because otherwise it sends out a message that we have an elitist justice system whereby if you're a rich celebrity you get away with it. That's just not on. um, but you know, in terms of judgment, well, we all make mistakes, I get that. I've done things I'm not proud of, but I can honestly say I've never ever, well, I don't drive anyway, but if I did I would never drink and drive. I think that is basically, it's like attempted murder almost. I'm not saying it's the same mindset. I'm not saying someone who gets behind a wheel when they're drunk is trying to kill people, but it is incredibly reckless and it is putting lives at risk. So it shouldn't be trivialized. It's not a small mistake, Katie Price. Um, so I think her attitude's disgusting. Of course, her fans will line up to defend her. But again, this is an example of where mental health is sort of actually used as an excuse. Now, I think it's good that mental health is more discussed in the public domain. I do. I've been through depression. I've been through, in that sense, mental health issues. But I don't care what personal circumstances you're going through. My sympathy goes out the window as soon as you do something like that. I'm sorry, but it does, especially if you're a repeat offender. My sympathy lies with people who have lost loved ones and they're looking at this and they're thinking, wait a second, she has escaped a prison sentence. Instead of being grateful for that, telling people not to judge her and, you know, making it all about herself. Claims that she has regret. I don't think that's sincere. And maybe she'll come back when, you know, she claims that she's getting therapy. But I'm sick and tired of entitled celebrities. And I'm also tired of journalists giving them a free pass. I'm not saying they need to go in all belligerent and, you know, really, really put her on the spot. But I think it's the responsibility of a good journalist to say, well, look, we appreciate you going through these issues, but do you understand that people would look at this and say, well, actually, you've got away with this? And they failed to do that. They were just kind of going along with it. I think she is selfish. I know that she, famously has her son, Harvey, who has severe, I understand, learning difficulties. Um, but, her attitude to this, to me, that's selfish. No matter how dedicated she is to her son, she could have ended up killing someone else's son or making someone else's son severely disabled. Now, I've actually defended Kate Price before. I remember a few years ago, Frankie Boyle, the obnoxious comedian who I have zero respect for, made tasteless jokes about her son. And she was understandably angry about that, and I defended her at that time. But, this time she's just being entitled. Um, I mean, do these people live in a bubble? Can they not appreciate how they come across? Instead of just saying, oh, don't judge me, how about some introspection, Katie Price? Look at yourself in the mirror, consider that you are in the wrong. Don't make excuses. You're a grown woman. Don't make excuses. Just accept that you're wrong. Be grateful you escaped a prison sentence and sort your life out because this is directly affecting other people. We all have problems, and I'm not so cold hearted that don't see that people have struggles. We all have struggles, but my sympathy does go out the window when someone puts others' lives at risk and doesn't even have the integrity to acknowledge that they're in the wrong, to really acknowledge that. To me, she's just being entitled. Um, and I really think she needs to come back and make a sincere apology. Comes back at all. I mean, I don't know. Apparently, she's getting therapy. Whatever problem she has, I hope she sorts it out for the sake of others and for the sake of herself. But this attitude, don't judge me. Well, people will judge you. I'm judging you. I'm judging you because of your attitude. And frankly, if I was drink driving and I came out and said, "Oh, I'm going through troubles in my life, don't judge me," and people judge me, I couldn't complain about it. Yeah, I don't think it's good enough to do something that reckless and then say, "Don't judge me." I think that's rather pathetic, actually. People will judge you. If you don't want them to judge you, then show real remorse, Katie Price. It's pathetic.